Okay, so the whole AI race, it's shifting gears. It's not just about who can chat the best anymore, it's about who can do the most. And that's exactly why we need to talk about Qwen 3.6-Plus. This thing is built for one thing: getting stuff done.
So this right here, this is the question that's really driving the next wave of AI. You know, we've spent years trying to build better chatbots, but what if we were aiming for something else all along? What if the real prize is a digital teammate that can actually work with you? That's the idea behind the model we're digging into today.
All right, so let's set the scene. April 2nd, 2026. Alibaba Cloud drops Qwen 3.6-Plus. And look, I get it. A new model launch happens like every week, right? But this one felt different. It's a signpost, really, pointing to where this whole field is going.
In that direction, we're calling it the agentic shift. It's this fundamental change, this kind of rewriting of the rules for what we should even expect an AI to do for us.
Yeah, this breakdown here says it all. For years, it's been all about chatbots, right? You ask a question, you get an answer. It's a one-and-done kind of thing. But this new agentic model? Totally different game. You don't give it a question, you give it a project, and it actually comes up with a plan and executes it, step by step. Think about it. It's the difference between using a search engine and having a real assistant.
So the big question is, how does it actually do all this? Well, it all comes down to this core idea they've built, something Alibaba is calling the capability loop. Okay, first things first, let's talk about this number, a 1 million token context window. Now, why should you care? Because that means this model can hold a whole code base, a huge project document, or a super long conversation, all in its head at once. It doesn't forget what you were talking about 5 steps ago, which is, absolutely essential for any kind of complex long-term project.
So all that massive context gets fed into this really elegant 3-step loop. First, it perceives. And we're not just talking text here. It can look at images, understand UI designs, read through documents. Then it reasons. It takes all that info and actually thinks about it, forms a strategy. And finally, the most important part, it acts. It can use tools, it can write code, it can try things, get feedback, and try again. So here's the key takeaway, right? This isn't just some super smart brain you go to for answers. No, it's designed to be an executor. It's meant to sit right there inside your workflow, constantly in that loop of perceiving, reasoning, and acting until the job is actually finished.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually mean for you in the real world? Well, if you're a developer, a creator, a builder, listen up, because this is where all that tech talk turns into a real-world toolkit.
And this isn't some far-off future stuff. For front-end devs, this means you can literally give it a picture of a website, a screenshot, and it can write the code. That's that vibe coding you hear about. For other engineers, think about this. You can ask it to refactor something, and it gets the context of the entire code base, not just a single file. It's a game changer. And that's before we even get to how it can chew through complicated PDFs or understand user interfaces. It's built to do things.
Which brings me to maybe the most important piece of advice I can give you. Please, do not use this like just another chatbot. If you want to see what it can really do, you have to give it a project, give it a goal, and let it run on a real, structured task.
Of course, Qwen isn't alone out there. The field is crowded. So the natural question is, where does it stack up against the competition?
Let's start with the big one, GPT. And really, it's not about who's better, it's about what they're built for. GPT is like this massive, all-purpose operating brain. It's a flagship that can do a million different things. Qwen, though, it's taking a different approach. It's making a laser-focused, super aggressive push to own that developer-first, agentic, get-it-done space.
Now, the comparison with DeepSeek is maybe even more interesting. They're both moving in this direction of models that can think and use tools, but there's a subtle difference in their focus. DeepSeek is just phenomenal when it comes to reasoning-heavy agents. Qwen, on the other hand, seems to be betting on the entire loop, from seeing and perceiving the world with vision all the way to the final execution.
Okay, so this brings up something that honestly confuses a lot of people. Is Qwen the model itself, or is it one of these new workflow tools?
You see names like Qwen, and then you see names like OpenClaw, and you think, okay, which one do I pick? And it's a totally fair question, but it kind of misses how all these pieces are designed to fit together.
Here's the thing. They aren't competing at all. They're designed to work together. Think of it like this. A model like Qwen 3.6-Plus, that's the brain. It does the thinking, the reasoning, the planning.
Then you have a workflow layer, like OpenClaw. Those are the hands. They're what connect the brain to your email, to your code editor, to the internet, to actually do things in the real world. You need both. You put the brain in the hands to make a complete agent.
So, when you step back and look at all this, the new models, the workflow tools, the shift in focus, you start to see the bigger picture. We're really truly stepping into a brand new era.
And this is the big shift. If there's one thing to take away, it's this. We're moving on from the idea of a chat bot. That's the old way. We're moving toward the era of the AI teammate. It's not just something you ask questions, it's something that works with you to get projects done.
And that's why, at the end of the day, the real story here isn't about some score on a benchmark leaderboard. Who cares? The real story is about what this technology makes possible. The question we should be asking isn't just how smart is this AI anymore. The new question, the one that's going to define this new agent era, is how capable is the workflow it can power?